In Edinburgh, parking attendants can now impose fines of £100 on drivers who break new laws. Ian, how do you find getting about Edinburgh on our pavements?
I think it's difficult when there's cars parked on the pavement, so if you're using a pram or a buggy, you sometimes have to go into the road to get past cars that are parked on the pavement. It's obviously quite dangerous, especially when you've got like a child with you.
The new legislation makes it illegal to park on the pavement at a dropped curb or on zigzags at a pedestrian crossing, or to double park. Do you think there's been a big problem with pavement parking?
I think in some areas of the city there's been an issue with pavement parking. It's not all over and it's not on every street, but the streets where it is an issue, it has caused noticeable concern. If somebody's able to block a bin overnight and maybe they sleep in the morning, that could mean the difference between somebody getting their bins emptied for a week. Blocking a drop curb could mean maybe somebody that needs that tactile paving to cross safely, they won't have that option and they'll need to find somewhere else to cross the road. It also means that we'll be able to enforce against people that are blocking on actual zebra crossings and full pedestrian crossings because they think that they're not parking against any lines, so they're getting on free parking. And especially on the busier roads, that's quite dangerous for everybody.
Personally, I mean, pavement parking is one of my pet hates, and so even if I wasn't a councillor, I'd be excited about today because it has such a negative impact on so many people in our city. And the enforcement of this ban today is going to make people with disabilities, people with visual impairments, parents and grandparents with buggies, it's just going to be easier and safer to get around the city. It's a huge step forward actually, and I hope other towns and cities right across Scotland follow us. And what's been absolutely astonishing is the public awareness raising campaign run by the parking team and our media team means that right across Edinburgh, streets where people were telling us that parking on the footpath was unavoidable, there's now no pavement parking.
It's over 10 years since people first started campaigning on this, and the legislation which banned pavement parking was in 2019, so that's nearly 5 years ago. So a very good day to see this at last.
Cars parked on pavement is a daily problem and a health and safety risk, preventing people with sight loss and others with reduced mobility, indeed, from getting out and about safely and independently in our communities. So we're delighted that Edinburgh Council is taking the initiative by being the first council in Scotland to enforce the new pavement parking legislation.
Some of the streets in Edinburgh they're so narrow, and even if there's cars parked on the pavement, and you're having to walk along a narrow street and there's cars coming along, you've got nowhere to go. If you've got traffic coming towards you, of course the dog's on the left, so the traffic is right beside the dog, and if you have to go on the road and you've got traffic coming from behind you, you're in the line of traffic. So either way, it is very scary.
I really hope that no fines have to be issued. But if fines are issued, we'll take that money and we'll reinvest it back in footpaths. Doing things like dropping curbs just to make it easier for people with disabilities and pushing those buggies to get around our city.